Hi, welcome back to Christina's Knitting Catch-Up, where we can talk about our knitting and catch up over a nice cup of tea. Have you got one? I've got one. You'll love this. This cup says, "Knitting is my superpower." And it's got this lovely little lady with a cute moss stitch capelet. Knitting is my superpower. A good friend gave me this present, and I use it a lot at home because I like to knit at home. And it's too nice to take into work, don't you think? I don't want someone else to drink their yucky tea out of my nice cup. Just drinking chamomile. It's a bit too hot yet. I just boiled the kettle, so I don't want to burn my face off. Okay, so I've got my show notes right here, ready to go. So I just wanted to start by welcoming everybody to my channel and to my podcast. I've had a few more subscribers this week, which has been really lovely, a bit of a thrill, and I hope you enjoy it. So thanks very much. My name is Christina, obviously, of Christina's Knitting Catch-Up, formerly known as Christina's Craft Catch-Up. And you can find me on Ravelry as Chrisar, which is a funny kind of nickname that I picked up in high school. And it's actually on the back of my high school jersey. We all had to pick nicknames. And that's Chrissaah. Chrisar is what it is. And that's my Ravelry username. On YouTube, Christina's Craft Catchup, I think. And I have a blog, which is www.cutifulchristina.com. And I'll link them down in the box, and maybe I'll put them on screen if I can figure out how to do that. I'm not very good at iMovie yet. So today's date is the 29th of July. It's Wednesday, and Wednesdays are generally my day off, although I have already been to work today. I thought I'd do a bit of an introduction about me because I haven't really spoken about me despite this being my video. So I live in Australia, as you can probably tell from my accent and the fact that I'm wearing a jumper in July. I live in Australia. I live in the ACT, and if you're from here, you'll probably know where that means. I live. Let me think. I am actually a music teacher as my job, and that means that I don't work, set hours. I go in and I teach my students when I timetable them during the term. And so this term, which is term 3, I've managed to squeeze all my students into a few days, so I have Wednesdays off. So that's nice. I do a few things around the house. I do my washing. I do my podcast. So hopefully now I'll be able to do my podcast on Wednesdays, upload it Wednesday night or Thursday morning, and we'll see how that goes. I hope it works out. Okay, so what are we here for? What's on my needles? I haven't actually finished anything this week. It's been a bit slow going. Well, I suppose I've finished one sock, which is not that good. So these are made out of regia. I don't know what type of regia. I know it's 4-ply, but I don't know the colorway because I threw out the ball band like the genius I am. So I did that. These are actually anatomically correct socks. So this is my left sock, and I used the Fish Lips Kiss Heel pattern, which is $1 on Ravelry. So if you haven't already got that pattern, I suggest you go and buy it because it's well worth the $1. I've used it quite a bit since I bought it. And I just decided to make these anatomically correct because the last socks I knit had a square toe, and I found them flapping around above my little toes. So, because I have a very long, big toe compared to my other toes. I'll show you my cutout. Oh, it's here. So as you can see, here's my pinky toe and here's my big toe. So that's this much difference in length between my big toe and pinky toe. So obviously a square toe is not going to really work for me. So I figured this out myself, and I think I might tweak it a little bit, and then I'm going to try and write a pattern for these anatomically correct socks. So my next pair of socks are going to be in a lovely sparkly red. The yarn is upstairs, sorry. You'll see it next time maybe. So for those ones, I'll tweak the pattern and test it, and then hopefully I can release a sock pattern, which will be exciting. So for the cuff, I just did that much cuff, but I left the tail because I think I'll go back and do some more cuff. Here's my second one. And as you can see, I'm not quite up to the ribbing yet, but I'm going to try and do this one longer, and then I'll do this as much as I can. I've still got this much left for my second one, and I've got, well, less than this, but some left for the first one, so I'll go back and make it longer. I don't know, I just got a bit sick of it, which was a bad mistake, because it turns out that I want it longer. But this has been nice to keep in my handbag and bring out if a student doesn't show up, or if I have a break in my timetable. I got a fair bit done in the past couple of days at work, so that's been nice. I actually have a concert tomorrow, Thursday, so my students have been pretty keen to show up and practice. Usually they're a bit forgetful, so that's why I bring my knitting to work with me. It's not like I knit while I'm teaching, if only. Some of the students wouldn't know the difference. Okay, so my next thing on the needles is something I cast on a couple of nights ago, and it's the Shawl Collared Cow by Alana Dacos from Never Not Knitting, and I'm making it out of the hand spun that my friend Violet made for me, and that was my birthday present, was some lovely hand spun, and it's this pretty purple with bits of blue in it, and it's 100% alpaca, I think. And I'm just knitting this at home just because I have socks to knit on the go, and because of that I didn't even bother to take the ball off my ball winder, and until I started recording I had this attached to my table, and whenever I was knitting I'd just pull it off and it would, works really well. I'm thinking of doing this more often for home projects, although if I need to wind a different ball of yarn then that could be a problem. Maybe I need another ball winder. Maybe not. I'm running out of space in my house. Where can I put this? On the floor. Okay. Now, last time I showed you my knit your own dog that I was doing. I haven't seamed it up yet. I seamed up his leggies, and then one of them turned out really uneven, and then his butt was uneven. So I have to unpick the seaming that I did and then seam his leggies again, and then maybe his butt won't be so crooked. And then I can stuff him. Yeah, I've just been dragging my feet because I don't even really want a knitted toy because I am a grown-up and I don't have any children in my life at all. I don't even know any. So I feel like once I do finish this dog, what am I going to do with it? I don't quite know. Maybe he'll be so cute that I want to keep him on my dressing table, but I don't know. I'll get to it. It's sitting there guilting me every time I see it. And the last thing I have on my needles is still this jumper called the Fallow Sweater, which is lovely, really. I mean, look at that. It's a beautiful cable and lace pattern. It looks tiny. Everything always looks tiny until I block it. It's also squished up on small needles. It's just beautiful. But my problem with this, as I've said before, it's just a bit tedious because every round there's 20 rows in the pattern. There's lots of cables, lots of knit two together and slip slip knit, and lots of other annoying difficult things, and I'm just finding that the needles are pokey and it's just a bit tedious. So I'm trying to force myself to do a few rows every night. Apparently I'm 2/3 of the way through the front, but I don't think this is long enough for yours truly, so I'm going to maybe do this much again instead of just one more repeat. This is 2 repeats, if you can't tell, which you probably can't. And this yarn is some yarn that I bought at a handmade market recently, or actually not so recently, it was at Christmas. And it's 100% alpaca. It feels really lovely, and it's from a local alpaca farm, so that's lovely, and it's hand dyed, so it's a little bit uneven in colour, but I really like it. I thought I'm going to put a photo of the fallow sweater here so you can see what that's like. Yeah, so it looks great, doesn't it? And I can't wait to have it, but until it's done I have to do it, so yeah, I'll get there. Now, everybody's always talking about project bags, and I know that the knitting expat Mina, she makes beautiful, beautiful project bags, but I don't really have any project bags. I have a lot of tote bags that I've gotten from various places and events, so at the moment I'm using this Strand bag from the Strand bookshop in New York City from when I went there, and I just use that to carry my stuff around. It's big enough to keep everything in, and if I want to I can put other stuff in there too. So I just have a lot of tote bags, and I'm happy with that. Now, coming up on my needles, I have a bit of a dilemma. I started this jumper a while ago. It's the Marion jumper. Do I have a picture here? Oh, you won't be able to see. It's too little. But I'll put a picture in here. So that's what the Marion jumper looks like. Marilyn, not Marion, Marilyn, like Marilyn Monroe. And it's made out of Angora, Rowan Angora Haze, which is absolutely gorgeous, very soft. It just feels really lovely, squishy and beautiful. But I started knitting it, and my gauge is not just coming out a little bit too big, it's coming out gigantically too big. This is meant to be the sleeve cuff, and it's almost big enough, not quite obviously, but if you stretch it, it's almost big enough for like a front or a back. It's that big. So I think the gauge is really weird in this pattern, and this is down a few needle sizes anyway. So I had a look on Ravelry at the recommended gauges for this yarn, and this particular pattern, the gauge is very small. So I looked for some other 4-ply or fingering weight patterns, and I thought I would kind of like a cardigan instead of a jumper, because I have lots of jumpers and cardigans are a little bit more versatile. You can open them, they're easier to get on and off, you don't have to mess up your hair to get them on and off. And I came up with either, let me just have a look on here. I came up with either the Belmont pattern by Gudrun Johnston, which is a lovely light fingering weight cardigan with a zigzag cable pattern, and I'll put a picture in here. And the gauge for that is 27 stitches to 10 centimeters. My other thought was the Peacock Eyes cardigan, which is a top-down round yoke cardigan, and that's 26 stitches to 10 centimeters, and I'll pop a picture in here. Right. So, but if I look at, so that was 27 stitches and 26 stitches to 10 centimeters in those two patterns. If I look at the Marilyn jumper, the gauge is 36 stitches. So much, much finer. And, you know, I've seen other people make those two other cardigans with this yarn. So I think, and let's see what it says on the ball band actually. It says 28 stitches on the ball band. So it's anybody's guess. But my gauge is always a little bit looser, so maybe one of those cardigans would be better. I'm thinking the Peacock Eyes cardigan, it looks a bit easier. Or maybe the Belmont cardigan because it's prettier. I don't know. I like them both. And I've seen one Peacock Eyes cardigan in the Angora Haze yarn, which looks really good. So I thought, it worked for her, might work for me. So that's what's coming up on my needles. Okay, what about acquisitions? I actually only have one thing that I've bought since talking to you last. Or did I even show this to you last time? I'm not sure. Don't think so. I got 2 balls of the Bendigo, can you see this? Yeah. Bendigo Woolen Mills Alpaca in Natural Cream. And it's about a DK weight or 8 ply. And it's very soft, lovely alpaca. It's got a bit of a halo to it, as you can see. Yeah, so my plan for this is a shawl that I have in my head that I would like to put down on paper and I would like to knit up. I have an idea of a lovely, snuggly, warm, kind of thicker shawl than you normally find with no holes in it, no yarn overs. To keep it really warm, I thought I could put bobbles in it or something lovely. I know a lot of people don't like bobbles, but I really like them. I think they're gorgeous. They're cute. Bobbles are cute. So that's my plan. I've sort of got ideas of little bobbles and little mountains and not mountains, different kinds of patterns. Anyway, I'm excited about that, but I've got a lot of things in my brain and not all that much time to get them out of my brain. So we'll see how I go with that. It might take a while. All right. So I thought that I would do a little segment called Good Stuff, which is not necessarily knitting related, but about things that I think are great. And I thought I'd start this week with some good stuff. My favorite thing this week is a book which has been doing the rounds of the internet called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying by Marie Kondo, who is a Japanese author. And her book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying, has really changed my life. I'm amazed by this book. It's about basically reducing the amount of stuff you have. And she makes the point that when everybody is actually confronted with how much stuff they own, it's quite overwhelming and surprising to people. So she suggests that to get rid of some stuff, you gather all the things that you have of the same type in one place, say all of your clothes, all of your dresses, say, if you have a big wardrobe, all of your dresses, and you pile them all in the same place, every single one, and you pick them up one by one, and you ask yourself, does this spark joy? And in a lot of cases, I found when I did this, the item didn't spark joy. It actually sparked more of a guilty feeling because I feel like I need to hold on to this. This has some memory to it, some happy memory, or some not so happy memory, or some person bought this for me and I should keep it because they'd be upset if I got rid of it. Thoughts like this instead of, oh, I love this dress. This is just the best dress. So if you get rid of stuff that doesn't make you happy, then you'll be left with all of the stuff that does make you happy. And wouldn't it be nice to just live in a place surrounded by things that make you happy? I think so. So I've done a lot of my clothes. I've gotten rid of a lot of clothes, and I've gotten rid of a lot of files and paper things, and I feel so much lighter and happier because I got rid of some stuff. I even got rid of a whole bunch of yarn and fabric that I didn't want because I'm not going to use it. I don't think it's very nice. Get rid of it. I gave a lot of things to charity, so don't think that I just chucked stuff in the bin. So that is one of the things I really like at the moment. Some good stuff is this book. Okay, let's see. How long have we got? We've been going for 20 minutes. I can talk a little bit longer. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about my knitting and how... This is my shawl, by the way. I designed this. This is my rose garden shawl. See all the little roses? It's like you're making a garden as you knit. The more you knit, the more flowers appear. I'm really pleased with it. It actually started to curl a little bit on the edges, so all I did was use a bit of steam on the iron. I didn't press with the iron, just used a bit of steam, and that flattened out really easily. So if you knit this shawl and you have a bit of curling, just use a bit of steam. Works really well. I thought I'd talk a little bit about my knitting. So I started knitting, I don't know, when I was a kid, 8 years old or something. Mum taught me, and I can't remember why I wanted to knit, but I remember knitting little squares that were blankets for my dollies and things. And I remember once I worked really hard knitting a scarf because I knew that there was going to be some... I can't really remember. This was a long time ago. There was going to be some charity clothes pickup thing at the local church, and Mum had told me about it, so I knit this scarf thinking I will give it to charity. And I took it there, and they said that it's too short, and maybe it would be better for one of my teddy bears, because I was only little, and also it was only little, so it was probably about this long. So not long enough for a scarf. So I took it home, and I think one of my teddies is still wearing it at my parents' house. Yeah. So I started knitting when I was little, but I only knew how to plain and purl for a very long time. My nana, my mum's mum, used to knit me things, and I remember one time she came to stay with us, and she knit me a banana in pajamas and a little teddy bear overnight. And it was only small, maybe yay big, the banana. And the nice thing about the banana is that his pajama top had real buttons that you could take off. His pants didn't come off, but his top had buttons, and you could undress him and dress him. And then there was the little brown teddy bear. So yes, because on Tuesdays they like to catch them unawares, I think is how it goes, right? Bananas in pajamas. Is that just an Australian thing, bananas in pajamas? It could be. It's a lovely little poem and also a kids' TV show now. So I didn't really do anything else with knitting for a long, long time. When I was maybe 12 or something, I started crochet. I learnt it at Girls Brigade, which was really fun. I loved Girls Brigade. And I used to crochet all sorts of things. I crocheted hats, blankets. I have an enormous granny square blanket that is one granny square. It's not many. It's just a giant one. That's on my bed at my parents' house, I think. And then I started a gigantic ripple blanket, which was crochet. And I only finished that last year. And that took me maybe 10 years to actually complete. It had a long time in hibernation. But I might put a photo of that in here. It's on my double bed upstairs. So I did crochet for a long time. Then a couple of years ago, I knit a pair of pants, which the story is on an episode of Alana Dacos's Never Not Knitting. If you want to listen to the full story about the knitted leggings, I knit them to go to Sweden, and then they were so itchy and horrible that I never wore them. And since I've re-knit them into scarves and given them away. Waste not, want not. And it was probably about 3 years ago that I started knitting from patterns and, really getting into Ravelry and having fun with that. So I also sew. I do a lot of sewing. I've actually done a Certificate 3, which is a qualification in clothing production, which was really great, really fun. So I'm kind of qualified in sewing. Not qualified in knitting, but I don't think they do a Certificate 3 in knitting. So that's enough about me. So I just wanted to say thank you to Mina for the shout out in her podcast. That was really lovely. I love her podcast. I watched the latest episode last night and she's so entertaining. And how does she knit socks in a week? Like 2 pairs of socks in a week. It's very impressive. I certainly can't do that. Yeah, I've got the sock bug, definitely. Very exciting. When I finish my socks, I will show you what they look like on my feet. In fact, possibly even today, before I finish my socks, I'm going to show you what they look like on my feet, because they're just so much better than the square-toed socks. So thank you to Mina. That's really lovely. I'm glad to be kind of friends with you now. That's exciting. And again, thanks to all the people who have subscribed and watched my videos. It's really lovely. Very kind. Okay, so that'll probably do for today. Next week, I hope to have a finished pair of socks and the beginnings of a new pair of socks. I hope to have cast on either the Peacock Eyes sweater or the Belmont cardigan. I hope to have a finished Labrador dog here waiting to say hello to you. What else is it? I hope to have done a bunch more on my fallow sweater, although I kind of doubt it because it's a bit of a pain. So that's my plans anyway. I don't think anything else is going on this week. Got my concert tomorrow. Got nothing much on this weekend, thank goodness. And then back to work again on Monday. So see you next Wednesday. Bye. So here's the one I made last week. It's the square toe. So as you can see, I've got a bit of spare room in here. It's okay, but I've got some spare room. Bit flappy there. And here's my new one, anatomically correct. So I don't have any room in there. So there's the decreases. Don't know if you can see that. Oh, this is a bit of a stretch. And these fit beautifully. Yeah. So that's my sock story.